exciting.
It is exciting.
All right, good morning, everyone. If you please stand and join us for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
Of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
It's very statement. Good morning, everyone. It is July 21st. This is the Broadwater County Commission meeting. Before we start, I will find my voice. We do have a civility policy, also known as the open meetings policy for Broadwater County. We do follow Robert's Rules of Order. The purpose of this policy is to open our public meetings to all county residents. We realize we have a fiscal and fiduciary responsibility to conduct county business as efficiently as possible for all citizens. Our meetings are recorded and are on YouTube, so please state your full name prior to any public comment. Any separate conversations need to be conducted outside. Outbursts will not be tolerated, and initially for public comment, each citizen will be given 3 minutes, and all comments need to be directed to the board chair. So with that, we have public comment, as it is 10 o'clock. Is there any public comment? Public comment, John?
My name is John Wright. I'm responding to an article that you responded about the scheduling of herbicide spraying up around my place on Indian Creek, which you open and blatantly stated a barefaced lie. I had arrangements with our weed man that he would call me 7 days advance when exactly the county would start. The Bureau of Land Management, Forest Service, and the state were spraying 2 to 3 weeks before that, along with Graymont and what have you, unbeknownst to me, which caused me severe health problems, and I have it right now. Eye problems, with the glazing of my eye from the treatment of the eye infection, and bronchitis, which I'm on treatments daily. I was sprayed in the county, in the canyon, by our county road sprayer, and I have 2 witnesses that it happened. And you're open and blatant, almost insane accusation that I had many, many advance warnings of the exact time, and I say again, it's a barefaced lie. And I don't know how you can justify yourself doing that. And the complications are not over. It hasn't been sprayed around my place by the county, in my yard area. There's signs up there warning and stopping it. And I will continue this until I get better. And I don't know when that'll be, because last time I had these same conditions, I ended up in the hospital with pneumonia, and I damn near died. And it's not going to happen again. And you have somehow put yourself above the law to say what you did and openly give it to the media. Because my agreement with the weed man was totally violated. At 6 o'clock in the morning, and he knows I don't get service up there at my place, telephone service. At 6 o'clock she says they're coming. And you jump right in tune with it. Mr. Slifka brought the issue before you, and these words come out of your mouth. Now, do you have an answer for it? Or do you claim you don't have to answer? Or be held accountable? And again, back to Robert's Rules of Regulation, there is no such thing in our country as parliamentary law. You got to go to England to get that. And maybe that's where you want to be. But what you're doing is an act of treason. And you can be held accountable for it. And I plan on doing it again. You've already been held. Only problem we have right now, the sheriff has not fully activated upon your conviction. Elaine's the same way. And so is our county attorney. Now the issue that you're going to bring a special prosecuting attorney in here is ridiculous. We've already got an attorney that's incapable of doing her duties. Now you want to stack it up with another one. You got to get rid of her first before you can bring him in due process of constitutional law. She is a full-time, not like John Flynn, which was part-time. She is a full-time, plus she's an attorney for the county, for the city. So do you plan on paying this special attorney out of your wages? I don't want it out of mine. And I don't know who else will stand here with the other commissioners. But this is an open and blatant extortion of our tax money.
Thank you, John.
Will you answer any of the questions?
I am going to respond to the allegation that I lied at any time, and I will say that we have a paper trail. We have documentation. I did not lie. I do not lie, and I will rest on those documents.
Will you
as proof
provide me with
of
this
that
documentation?
case. Absolutely, it's open to the public. Any other public comment? Yes, sir.
I'm Mike Delger. I'm with the Parks and Recreation Board. And the first thing that I would like to address is Sean Higley's hiring to do Parks and Recreation. If we're the Parks and Recreation Board for trails and that stuff, we're already working on that. We don't get paid. I don't see a reason to have any input from him until we get a plan in place. And we're working on a plan. I don't see a reason to pay him to develop a plan that we as volunteers are already working on. And if that's the situation, then I don't see why the Parks and Recreation Board would even consist. The other thing is the building issues. I don't know why you would spend $170,000 on modulars components when you have contractors in the county who are more than capable of doing that work. The last time that they remodeled search and rescue with an engineer, architect involved, I don't know who was looking in the crystal ball, but evidently nobody in that building has to go to the bathroom because they didn't even put one in. So now you're gonna have him design another one. And the other thing is $200,000, my understanding is the building is a storage building for equipment and maybe has an office or two in it, just equipment. So I'm presently on the fire board. We are working on a fire hall in Winston that's approximately half the size of that building. And our price right now on it is either slightly above 60, but preferably below $60,000. And you're going to turn around with this engineer and spend almost 4 times that for a building that's twice the size. There are people in the county who design buildings. There are pole barn people in the county who design buildings. And there's a more than adequate ground down there to add on to the building that you presently have that's not going to cost you $200,000. I don't know where you would spend $200,000 on an equipment shed, but somebody's making a lot of money. And I guarantee you, it's not the contractors. And there are people in this county that are more capable of designing and building that building for a lot cheaper than $200,000. I think Mr. Higley's taking you guys for a ride. And that's all I have to say. I have to go back to work. Thank you for your time.
Can I address your issues, Mike?
What's that?
Can I address your issues before you go?
Sure.
Just to let you know, we have not hired Sean in any way to work on the Parks and Rec plan. That's totally up to you guys. He brought forth an option for getting you guys extra money to work on that, and it would have been combined with the growth policy, which is vastly outdated, and the rental lease regulation that's required by the state after the last legislature. That's all it was.
Okay.
As soon as Nicole brought up the issue, he said, no, if you guys don't need me, that's fine. So it was nothing that he was going to circumvent, aid, anything. It was just a
Okay.
means of helping you guys and the planning board to find some more money to get it done.
Okay.
And that's off the table. As far as the building issues, Sean Higley didn't design the search and rescue building in 2008.
Oh, I realize that, but at the same point in time, there was engineers and architects involved, and that's what happens when you get engineers and architects. They go so far over the budget with stuff that, I mean, like I said, they redesigned it, but they don't even put a bathroom in. So why did I don't know who was on the board, but why would you put an extension onto a building that you're gonna have people in, and you don't even put a bathroom in. I
Or a
mean,
meeting room.
anybody with any common sense would, I don't even know why that went through.
That was before our time, so we
I
can't answer those
understand that,
questions,
but
but
that's what you're getting
it
into.
was almost $120,000 for that. It's now 9 inches in a hole. To do anything more with that building is just more money after bad. The problem with the modular, or the issue with the modular, is we do have a study for a brand new building for office space. The problem is it exceeds $300,000. And we heard from the public, they did not want us to spend that money. The problem is we have needs, showers for people spraying chemicals, bathroom. We need a meeting space, we need a training space. We can save money by doing it in-house rather than sending people to Kalispell for a week, was an example given. So this is something we have been studying for a long time. The modular buildings are the least expensive way that we can go. We will certainly put out to bid to any local contractors what we're looking at and see if we can get something even close. If we can come close and go local, that would be, I think, the best way to go because it supports the local economy. As far as the storage building, just like with fire, it has to be insulated. We're gonna have possibly ambulances in there, vehicles with chemical that can't freeze or get too hot, and search and rescue, they can't have their stuff freeze either. So what we're looking at is something that has to be insulated, but it's also going to have a chemical storage facility because right now we're out of compliance. So what we're looking at is local. The quote is from Montana Post Frame, which is local, and it starts at $15 a square foot, goes up to about 22, and that's where that number's coming from. And Sean told us when he was here, this is plus or minus 25%. So it's just a rough, we haven't committed to anything, we have committed to moving forward. But as far as the particulars, those are still yet to come in. Does that help?
Yeah, the one thing you need to look at when you're doing the storage building is that when you build that, you need to stay away from a meeting room in that building.
We don't have one in the storage
If you go into
building.
any meeting rooms or any public rooms in there that have the facilities for the public or even for people on boards or whatever, that increases because then you have to separate that out from the building. You're better off taking that out of that building, putting it in a separate facility than trying to incorporate chemicals and everything into there. And that fire hall that we have out there, that is insulated and heated.
Yes.
I mean, it has to be. And that's the same with that storage building. And some of that stuff that there's no need to take and build this huge building and park 3 graders in there and you're heating all this space. The graders don't need to be heated, plug them in. You need to separate the heated area from a non-heated area.
This doesn't include the graders, Mike, and there isn't a meeting room or bathrooms in the storage facility. This chemical storage is next to it on the outside. It is connected, but it's on the outside. The storage is just for the equipment, that's it. And it's not for road, it's not for solid waste.
That's
It's
all
just-
for, what is that, for ambulance and weeds?
Ambulance, weed, mosquito, search and rescue is what it's for.
Just that all you need to do is build a facility where you can store the chemicals and not have them freeze.
Right, exactly, and that's gonna be in the same area so that we get it out of the road yard. And it's going to be, the building itself is gonna be its own square and attached, but on the outside is gonna be a separate building for chemical. We're gonna do the shell, Mike Myers is gonna do the insulation and the double flooring so that we meet with regulations on that. But the meeting room, that and the showers, they're in the office building, and they're 2 separate buildings. The office building, our estimate at this point is $170,000, and that's where the difference comes in, 170 to 300. And I'd be happy to get you those studies.
So you're gonna spend basically $500,000 on these 2 buildings?
No, and I don't know where that number's coming from. 170 plus 200 is $370,000. Now, there is a plus or minus 25, plus or minus. So it could go up to about 460,000. That's close to $500,000, but it's not there. So 370 is the estimate we have today that we're working with. The $500,000, I think, is out there as part of the rumor mill, and it's not accurate.
Well, if you're talking $460,000, you're talking $500,000.
But Mike, that's with, if it's plus 25% on the 370. The 370 is the quote we're working with right now. The 460 is just if there is an increase of 25%. like I said, it's plus or minus at this point. If we did put a bid out there to a local contractor and they came out less, great. If Montana Post Frame comes out less, great. But there's no guarantee that we're looking at plus 25%.
Well, I'd like to
so
see a different plan than bringing modular units in. I don't think
Okay.
that that's a good idea.
I would really appreciate it if you would put together a proposal for us when you get the specs. I'm gonna send you what we have.
Okay,
Do you want me to just US mail it to you, or do you want it
you can just
emailed?
US mail it.
Okay.
Okay,
All
thank
right,
you.
and I will pay for your copies.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Thanks, Mike. Any other public comment? Public comment? John, you've already given yours.
Well, I
Anyone
didn't use my
else?
whole time.
Anyone else? Actually, you exceeded your time.
Well, this is a comment to him, and he
I'm
went way
gonna-
over his time. It's
John?
about this
John?
building.
I was about to say I was going to give you the time. I am regretting it at this point. I'm going to give you one more comment.
Okay.
Please be respectful.
Well,
Go ahead.
you keep talking over me, I can't hear you talking over me.
No comment then?
I do have a comment.
You have been given permission to give it, John. I suggest you go ahead and do so.
Okay, about this issue you just made, do you not understand when they park these vehicles inside that, and I have a problem that I know what it would do to me, and no telling what it's doing, and then you put the ambulance next to these ATVs with their tankers on them, they're just as lethal as the substance, if not more so, because when you once mix water with it, it becomes aerated and becomes more acceptable to people's lungs and their bodies. We're 20% of weed. You gotta remember, God said it that way. And every time you expose me to herbicides, like it's been done, it means my inner being, my DNA is being exposed to it, and now it's accelerated to the point that it doesn't take much to do it now. I've had an issue back in 2003 where it almost killed me with pneumonia, heart problems, extreme stress by directly spraying on me by a helicopter. That hasn't happened this time, but my exposure was maxed. And it's all documented. This is not my saying. It's all, go to St. Peter's Hospital. It's all been documented and recorded. Now, when you put them in that building, just like this gentleman said, you've got to engineer and design this structure. And who needs all this office space? Us taxpayers are getting wrapped for somebody's incompetence to even allow the issue to come up. That's my issue.
Thank you. All right. Did ask about more public comment. We'll move on to Montana in a minute now. Franklin, you have anything good to say about our state or our community?
No,
All right, Elaine?
Yes, I was to the LEPC meeting the other day, and they're working very hard to put together a tabletop plan. And I just have to say, we're really lucky to have that group, a wide variety here working for us.
Absolutely. I want to comment on 4-H and what a tremendous asset it is to our community. We have a 4-H program that has about 140 kids in it, which is outstanding for a county our size. 4-H teaches leadership skills, responsibility, follow-through, record keeping, financial analysis, animal husbandry, science, robotics. So I just want to say kudos to 4-H, 4-H parents out there. I saw Missy Rouser at Slice of Summer running back and forth to Bob's because they kept running out of root beer. You know, parents oftentimes work 10 times harder than the kids do. They deserve our hats off. So with that, we will close this regularly scheduled commission meeting. I want to make one comment first before we do. We do have a revised agenda. At 2:30 today, what was added was formation of the Public Safety Commission, discussion and decision. So with that, we will close this regularly scheduled commission meeting and open a public hearing. We have 3 resolutions to consider today. cancel personal property tax delinquencies that are over 5 years old. This was brought to us by the Broadwater County Clerk and Recorder,
This is required by state law.
and it's required by state law, yes. It was started some years ago and for some reason dropped or forgotten about, and Doug has brought it back up. This is a resolution ordering the cancellation of personal property taxes that have been delinquent for 5 years or more. Whereas Section 1516-701 MCA states the county treasurer shall prepare in triplicate and submit to the Board of County Commissioners a list of property taxes that are not a lien on real estate or that has been delinquent for 5 years or more. And whereas the Broadwater County treasurer has submitted to the Broadwater Board of County Commissioners a list of personal property taxes that have been delinquent for 5 years or more in Broadwater County. And whereas Section 1516-702 MCA states the Board of the County Commissioners will examine the list to make any necessary corrections within 30 days of receipt. And whereas it further states the Board of the County Commissioners shall make its ordering canceling all such personal property taxes and contractual obligations contained in the list. Now therefore be it resolved by order of the Board of County Commissioners that all the delinquent personal property taxes listed on the attached sheet are hereby ordered canceled. Be it further resolved that upon notification of the order for cancellation, the Broadwater County Treasurer, Clerk, and Recorder will adjust the taxes receivable accounts to conform to this order of cancellation. So with that, is there any public comment? Yes, Trudy.
Trudy Southwick, Madam Chair, should that actually read mobile home taxes as opposed to personal property taxes?
It shouldn't, no. Elaine, do you want to address that as you used to be a Clerk and Recorder?
Because I'm thinking.
Doesn't, and is the personal property tax also like on animals and other things, and so anything?
Not animals. Animals go through the state.
Then other,
Boats?
other personal property other than the
Boats come
mobile
under
home?
vehicle.
Oh, do they? Well, so what would other personal property tax be by definition?
Equipment.
And so that would be written off after 5 years of not paying that, so it's not just the mobile home, it's
Right.
any personal property tax.
That's correct.
Okay, thank you.
Any other public comment on this one? John?
I have a question of this taxation thing that you're doing. I know of people that personally, in the past 5 years, have been severely hampered by this so-called the tax, and the taxes were 5 years older than that before, that have been held fully accountable. Are you going to relieve them when you relieve the new ones that haven't been attacked yet? Is this going to be a balanced out back, or is it just something for now covering this issue in this moment? And I need an answer to that, because I have some friends that are pretty riled about even having the issue brought up like you're doing right now for what happened to them.
This is in keeping with Montana state law. Like it was stated earlier, this is something that every county is legally required to do. For some reason, it wasn't done for years. I believe this goes back 19 years. So Doug is doing some housekeeping, some catching up on things that should have been done, and that's what this is.
That didn't answer my question. The question is, are you going to relieve these people that you've attacked, and even in cases they've all but lost their homes and their property over the state statutory law that's supposed to resolve it 5 years back, which has been going for what, 10 years? How long is it? How old is this law? Old is this law? Can you
It's a long
answer that?
time.
Yeah. Nobody's attacking anybody, John. We're
Well,
actually.
this is
John?
giving relief to people now, and you've taken the action against them in the past.
Okay, any other public comment? Cheryl?
Is there a dollar amount attached to whatever's being forgiven or?
There is in the clerk and recorder's office, yes. Any other public comment? Public comment? Anything from the board? Okay,
I think mostly tied into the mobile homes, this equipment, they put tax liens on and stuff. Is that right, Elaine, that any of this equipment that hasn't been taken care of, there should have been tax liens applied to?
Give me an example, Franklin. Do you mean like okay, I'll use at the ranch, say there's a big tractor and actually, that property shows up on our taxes with the real estate.
Right, that's what I thought.
But if I'm just leasing something and I don't have any land to attach it to, it gets hit that way.
Yeah, I think it pertains more like, say highway construction. Highway construction comes in and they're here for 2 years. They pay tax on their equipment. But like, I'm with you. Everything else is on our tax.
But think of the people that don't have any real estate to attach it to.
So in other words, somebody just renting a farm.
Yeah.
Cash rent or whatever we have, you know. Okay, so that's what applies to that part, which is kind of a small part, really. I guess it would be.
You know, and like livestock comes through the Department of
Right,
Revenue, we get
right.
a separate bill on taxes on that.
But I think the biggest part is on the mobile homes, isn't it?
Right.
And eliminating them after 5
Right.
years.
But those fall under the definition of personal property taxes.
Because it's not real estate.
So in other words, anytime, there's no reason for people to pay their tax on it, then. It's gonna be forgiven in 5 years.
But they can attach something to it before that.
Right, I mean, it could be a county put a tax lien on it,
Yes.
but if they haven't, then but,
And that's what we
it kinda,
talked,
from what I understand when Doug is here, there's strictly the mobile homes and because of the people leaving or
But
they're set.
where would you put equipment then?
Well, for somebody just renting, that's, yeah. But like, say this, I'm using a highway contractor, construction. They're in here for the 2 years, they haven't paid their taxes, and they're gone. So unless something's done, I remember, this is quite a few years ago, there was an outfit, well, maybe some of you people can remember what project it was, and they were pulling out, it might have been one of those dikes on the dam, on the end down here, and they were pulling out, and Treasure, they stopped them, I think it was at Austin, and they couldn't move that equipment until those taxes were paid that time. Do you remember that?
I don't.
But anyway, we're getting off the subject here, but it's kind of a strange deal on this equipment part.
any other questions, comments? All
I
right.
just have one more comment. It was,
Yes.
just for clarification purposes, when Doug was in here presenting all this, it appeared that it was strictly mobile homes taxes that he was talking about. And I think that's the confusion now, is it's conveyed to us as personal property taxes. So I think it would have been nice to have it clarified at that time that it wasn't just mobile homes, it was other taxes.
And he did at one point, the vast majority is mobile homes, but he did actually clarify that it does include more than that. But go ahead, Elaine.
I wonder if we ought to call Doug up and just get some clarification.
Well,
Sorry.
I mean, I understand now, it just seemed at the time that it was all strictly mobile home taxes.
Because that's the vast majority of it.
Right,
And the vast majority of the money portion of it as well.
okay.
I have a comment about this.
Yes, John?
On your U2, when Doug, and I was here when he made that presentation, and Doug has a tendency, what he don't really want to be expounded, he gets awfully quiet, and you couldn't actually hear what he was saying. I couldn't. Now, the U2 will pick it up. Will you bring that forward to present to us as exactly that's what he said? Not that you think he said something else, or maybe you heard it from the U2, or you heard it because you were directly in his face, but we couldn't hear it.
Okay, you can listen at any time. All right, any other public comment on this issue? Okay. All right, the next one we have is a resolution to divide election precincts in accordance with 2013 Montana legislative redistricting and reapportionment. We did this a couple months ago, And this was wrapped into the overall resolution, but that wasn't enough. The state would like it separate for the precincts. Is this correct?
That's right.
Okay. I'm just gonna read this. I'm not gonna read the boundaries for the different precincts. That has been available for anyone to review. Resolution dividing Broadwater County's election precinct districts in accordance with 2013 Montana legislative redistricting and reapportionment. On this day in July 2014, at a meeting of the Board of County Commissioners, Broadwater County, State of Montana, which meeting was duly noticed and called, the said Board of Commissioners met to reset the precinct boundaries pursuant to Article 5, Section 14 of the 1972 Montana Constitution, passed the following resolution dividing said county into election districts to it. Whereas under the provisions of Section 13-3-101 Montana Code annotated, it becomes the duty of the Board of County Commissioners of this county to divide said county into election precincts as compact and equal in area as possible and to number them respectively. Whereas said commissioners, 3 in number, are all present at that meeting. Whereas due to a reapportionment of the 2013 Montana legislature, the county commissioners declare that the county of Broadwater, state of Montana be, and the same is hereby divided into 5 election precincts, and that they shall be numbered respectively 1, 7, 11, 12, and 13. The precincts shall include the following territories to wit. So, Nicole, do you want to expand on that, or do you feel it's pretty self-explanatory at this point?
You know, the only thing I would have to expand on that is basically, this all occurred in February 2013. I presented this information to the commission. These districts were based on the 2010 census. And I think we went through and I showed you this map, you know, a little over a year ago, showing where the districts were going to be, trying to get them as equal in number as possible. So, you know, I think we've gone through this all already. This is basically just the final step, just closing that chapter. And I took these explanations that are in this resolution, which I don't blame you for not reading, verbatim from the information that was given to you to accompany this map. And basically that was just for the ease of the clerk and recorder's office, so they could make that determination. So I think this has all been covered, but you know, this is just the final step in this process.
This is the T's that need crossed and the I's that need dotted. Any public comment on the redistricting? John?
Yes, I have a complaint about the procedure that's being used, not reflecting to anybody particular, that under constitutional law, and we are a constitutional county, this is left up to the citizens to make these decisions through referendums and through other processes, not through state statutory law, which is not the second law, it's the 10th law and unconstitutional, because Montana has never been a constitutional form of government. It's been the state statutory from the very get-go, and you must know this. And you're violating it every time you spawned off on your Robert's Rule thing, and the same procedure's happening again. Why aren't you dealing with our constitutional county not state statutory law, but our constitutional rights here in the county? Because there's people that don't particularly like this reapportionment. And some won't come up here and talk to you because they don't like the retaliations they get from the sheriff's department, from you, and from others. It needs to be dealt with on a county constitutional format. And this is a very serious crime that seems to keep on going on and on and on. And it can be easily followed by the implementation of the 2 or 3 executive officers, which are commissioners, because you are the ones that makes the final decision constitutionally, not state statutorily, like you've just done. And I'm for certain she, our representative here, would do just exactly what she's guided to do by you, constitutionally.
All right, thank you, John. Any other public comment on this one? Public comment? Public comment. Anything
Just
from the
one,
board?
because she's just showing me the thing, and there's what, 7 districts now?
5.
Five.
I'm sorry, 5? So do we have to have more commissioners or?
There's always been 5. Well, not always, it was before. Please, Ann, yes.
Cheryl, we are not talking commissioner districts now, we are talking voting precincts. They
Oh,
are two
okay.
different entities.
Oh, okay,
All right,
thanks.
you're welcome.
Anything from the board?
I guess I do have one comment. This is no different than when the reapportionment commission met and did the legislative, the House and Senate districts, approved by the legislature.
And it's been done since, what, 1974, the 1972 Constitutional Convention? All right, any other questions, comments? Nothing from the board? All right, we will move on to number 3, which is, thank you, Nicole.
You're welcome.
Consideration to appoint a special deputy prosecutor. Appoint special deputy prosecutor. Whereas the Department of Labor and Industry has advised that Broadwater County Attorney's Office that it is investigating and wants to prosecute cases in Broadwater County and request appointment of one of their attorneys as a special deputy county attorney to assist the Broadwater County Attorney's Office by handling labor-related criminal cases. And whereas it is desired and deemed appropriate that a special deputy county attorney be appointed to assist in the prosecution of these cases. And whereas Montana Code Annotated 2-15-501 subsection 5 authorizes the Attorney General to provide assistance to county attorneys in the discharge of his or her duties. Now, therefore, be it resolved that Special Assistant Attorney General Joe Nevin of the Department of Labor and Industry is hereby appointed as a Special Deputy County Attorney for Broadwater County for the purpose of assisting in the investigation and prosecution of the aforementioned cases. It is further resolved that under the terms of this agreement, no fee will be charged for attorney time provided by the Attorney General's office based upon the fact that pursuant to internal operating policies operated by the Attorney General September 1, 1999, assistance in such cases is provided without an hourly fee. Witness fees and expenses, jury costs, and other normal costs associated with trial will be the county's responsibility, as with other prosecutions. Carla cannot be here today, but I know just a snippet of this to share with you. Apparently this involves somebody here in town who has had a personal relationship that is a conflict of interest for the county attorney. This is not new. John Flint did this a lot. It's something that happens in small communities, especially with county attorneys, because there are personal relationships between county attorneys and people who are going through the justice system. That conflict of interest, that personal relationship needs to be taken out of the equation, and that's why there's this agreement between different agencies. In this case, it is the Attorney General's Office and the Department of Labor, or other counties, and we actually utilize their services free of charge. It does state here that any costs associated with a jury trial would be Broadwater County's. That would be the case regardless of who the prosecuting county attorney or special deputy prosecutor would be. So, with that, any public comment? Public comment? John?
My name is John Wright, and I want this well recorded. Am I this individual that you two commissioners, Elaine and Laura, due to my accusations and implementations through the Sheriff's Department and the United States Court of Appeal, Washington, D.C., District of Columbia Circuit, the Constitutional Supreme Court, where the 10th Amendment was ratified in 1791. You have been duly taken there over the issue of Nellie V. Sayer, a former clerk of the courts. You defied and didn't answer your summons, so you were prosecuted by summons default, duly recorded, served on you by the sheriff. Am I this issue is my number one question. Will you answer that?
Yes, no, you are not. It said right here in the first whereas that this is handling labor-related criminal cases. The
You
specifics-
expanded wider than that.
Excuse me?
You expanded it a lot wider than that later on.
Yes, I certainly did. And that was the MCA that authorizes the Attorney General to provide assistance to county attorneys.
Mhm.
The specifics of who it is, I don't know. It is not you. I do know that.
Well, I welcome
Labor,
it.
John, if you'd let me finish. Labor-related criminal cases. You're not an employee, so it wouldn't be labor-related. And that's just an assumption on my part. I don't know anything beyond that. But it doesn't seem to fit you, and I would imagine if it did, it would have been advised. So,
I have
answer
now
some,
I have a second point.
go for it.
This business about Carla being our full-time county attorney. John Flynn did similar things as this when he was in office, but he was only a half-time attorney. Now, Carla is a full-time, being paid 3 times as much as John Flynn was, and has never had a trial by jury yet in her full tenure. And she's refused to go on any further because of her mentally and physical conditions, which she admitted right here, which is on YouTube, with the problem she has with
Okay,
pancreas.
thank you, John.
Well, no, I'm not done.
No, yes, you are.
I
John,
protest this
that's
man.
enough.
I protest
John,
this
John.
movement.
That's enough.
That goes for you
First off,
too.
she is not paid 3 times more than John Flynn. Second of all, the decision to take that position to full-time was John Flynn's, and it was discussed in a public meeting. That was John Flynn's idea. It was his plan. She has had jury trials, and a number of them, and she's been quite successful. As for anybody's mental or physical capabilities, we'll let that speak for itself, but it is inappropriate to be making those accusations against
She's
anybody.
made them herself.
That is enough. This is not regarding you, John,
Well,
but
it
I
is,
cannot tell you who it is involved in.
right there.
Any other public comment? Public comment?
Mr. Slifka,
Public
will you
comment.
respond to this?
John, that's enough. Now, any comments from the board?
I don't know why we have to have a resolution, I think, for a special prosecutor is, the Attorney General's office, as long as I can remember, is come in and assist a county attorney. I guess
It's
there's
just something that's
some,
required now.
Yep.
when did that go in effect, that had to be required?
I don't know, but quite some time back.
Okay, we do
But
have
they-
another.
They've always come in and assisted. There's sometimes some reasons that I understand that they don't want to.
I served on a murder trial in this county, and John Connor came in
Right.
and helped.
Right, I was on that, yeah. Yeah.
All right,
And
we-
the state, DCI, they come in on, anytime they're asked, that's what they're for, is for these smaller counties. They don't have the investigative powers and a lot of stuff for the people that have the time for it. So, but I don't know why we have to have it, because they always have helped. I guess that's all I have to say on that.
All right, we have another thought from the public. Ann?
Yes. I think if you will go down and look back through the years, there have been numerous resolutions requesting special attorneys done. I believe they are done each time that is necessary.
Thank you very much.
Well, and honestly, because it quotes the code right here. So,
I think we need to take a motion out of what we do, and we need to follow the law on black and white. That's why the citizens have a county attorney, that's why the citizens vote in an attorney general. We need to follow the law, black and white, regardless of how we may feel about individuals. Any other comments on this particular resolution? All right, we are going to close this public hearing and reopen our regularly scheduled meeting. We probably will not have Sean Higley today, since he obviously has not had time to put together what we requested of him last Wednesday. We do have a 1:30 with adjusting journal entries, and I'm wondering if you guys would like, well, you know what, we need a mail, sorry. All right, we have a letter, this was sent to all 3 of us, and this is in your mail, from Community Works. This is Northwestern Energy, And this is their Community Works report. Let's see, this is from Bob Rowe, and he gives an introduction that he is providing this book. They serve more than 300 communities in 4 states. They are proud of the Community Works program. Last year alone, they provided close to $2 million in support of many community development initiatives. Employees are active community members, both in the job and on their own time. About 80% of more than 1,500 employees donate their time regularly to a wide range of community activities. Last year, they provided local charitable organizations more than $600,000 in cash and more than $335,000 in money saved through donations and employee volunteer programs. They provided $100,000 in scholarships for college, university, and trade schools, with the priority given to students who are from their counties or communities. Bob Rose says our investments, our service, and our employees' efforts have a powerful impact on our region. When the communities we serve thrive, it's good for us. When we do our jobs well, it's good for our communities. Please let us know what we can do to continue delivering a bright future for the customers and communities we serve.
It's interesting to note that one of the states they serve is South Dakota, and it's all in the eastern, far east part of the state.
Yeah, yeah. Elaine, would you sign those claims so we can put in the claims file? Thank you very much. All right, we have a letter for each of the 3 of us. This is from the Broadwater County Rod and Gun Club. This is from Steve Leatherman, and he writes to Broadwater County Commissioners. The Broadwater Rod and Gun Club is requesting assistance from the Broadwater Board of County Commissioners to keep the BRGC Canton Lane building open. They have to make some repairs because their kitchen is not conducive to the firing range that they have. They will have it closed until those repairs are made, and they mention the different groups that take advantage of the facility that they have and the services they have to offer. The Broadwater Rod and Gun Club currently has over 450 members. The Board of Directors of BRGC is requesting $10,000 from the Broadwater County Commissioners, probably in PILT funds. Once the final work has been completed, the range will be open to the Sheriff's Department for qualification and training. Thank you for your considerations. So I think we should put this with the budget, with our other requests, and address this during the budget season. Any comments on that?
I think that's exactly where it belongs.
All right. We have claims from last week. These are the approved claims in the amount of $14,188.52.
Is that for 14 or 15?
That would be for fiscal year 15.
I'll make a motion to approve claims 2015 amount of $14,188.52.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded to pay the approved claims for fiscal year 15 in the amount of $14,188.52. All those in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. And I don't have it for last fiscal year, so I'll follow up on that with Tammy. All right, so that's it for mail. How about we do the, thank you. Commissioners' Community Update. What'd you guys do this week? Franklin?
Come in for that demo they had out here, this asphalt grinding. Saw the machine work and everything. That's pretty good.
Did it break down?
Not when I was here, did it break down? Oh, is that right?
That's what I was talking.
I don't know. I was here for, I don't know, an hour or so. Hour and a half, maybe that Tuesday, I guess it was. But, no, it was working good then. It's, it's not made for doing big roads or big streets, but for small areas like this, it works good.
Elaine, what'd you do this week?
I had 2 commission meetings, Monday and Wednesday. I had LPAC on Thursday, and they were working on a tabletop for this September meeting. And also reviewed claims with Cheryl and Melinda. Was able to answer their questions. That took care of my week.
We attended the city council meeting last week to discuss the Public Safety Commission. Lots of questions, lots of good questions. We did have a budget meeting. Hospital meeting was in Radersburg on Wednesday evening. Turnout was actually not bad. We had a really good open discussion. We were there for about 2.5 hours, so it was an excellent meeting. Agency on Aging was Thursday, and we belong to a region of 6 counties. And one of the things that we're going to do, years ago, the state had a fund where senior centers could ask for or apply for micro grants. And it was a very small amount of money, 500, 800, 300, somewhere in there, for something they needed for the senior center. That went away a couple of years ago, maybe 4 years ago. Our senior center got their curtains through that, new chairs. The old chairs were pretty bad. I don't know if they got new tables. Some senior centers get new carpeting, new stoves, that kind of thing. So we are going to be approaching, and we, I mean all of the state agency on aging regions, are going to be approaching the legislature to reenact those micro grants, for senior centers. The more you can keep somebody living on their own, the less expensive it is for people, for citizens and taxpayers.
And good for them.
And absolutely good for them, good for their health. Also, Board of Crime Control was Friday, and the ATV run was Saturday. Despite the smoke, it was a good turnout. People seem to be having a really good time. So that money, they made about $1,000, and that's gonna be split 50-50 between search and rescue and EMTs. So, and it was also a training day
Right.
for search and rescue. Did anybody get lost?
No, it was strictly water training
Oh, okay,
with the Coast Guard Auxiliary in Lewis and Clark County.
nice,
Yeah, that's been on TV, they filmed it, so.
excellent. Yeah, I'll have to pull that up and watch it,
That's a plus
yeah.
for our search and rescue.
Yeah, I didn't say I attended that city council meeting too.
All right, with that, we are almost at 11 o'clock. What we can do is up to you guys. We can move our 1:30 adjusting journal entries to 11 o'clock, as our agenda does say that time allows, items, issues and times are subject to change. Or we can take a recess until 11:45, reconvene in case there's a COS, and then break for lunch. If we do the adjusting our journal entries now, we would come back at 2 o'clock.
I said, let's go to adjusting those journal entries now.
Is
Fine with that.
Okay, then we will move our agenda
Laura,
to
I have a
adjusting
comment to make
journal
on just what you
entries.
made.
John?
Can you move up the 2 o'clock journal or the decision made to do and handle with that now?
No.
Because we've got plenty of time.
John, you're out of order. No.
No, you're out of order.
We have a break so that there's time for us to deliberate and think on our own about public comment. It is wise to have a lunch break in there so that people can ask questions, follow up as they need to, and get some facts, if they need to. So, to the adjusting journal entries, this is for June. And I didn't number them, they're not in any order. I go through these as they come in and ask my questions of Doug as they come up. These are downstairs in our mail for you guys to look at any time. So when you guys are done, we just need a motion to go ahead and approve that stack of journal entries.
Too many hours.
Commissioner Albert?
Yes.
I'm here now. I didn't know if you had any questions related to that resolution that I could help with.
I don't think we do until maybe 2 o'clock.
Okay.
All right,
Let me know if
thanks.
you need me.
Okay.
I did. ATV run, fantastic. I love the machine.
Fantastic.
Hard to really hit. We were good questions.
Clara's here now. She's got to be here.
We threw great motion
We're done.
resource exploration. Is there some mining out there?
Evidently.
That's where we find it back.
I'm sure plenty of people get paid too much.
Yeah,
I guess this that way than the other.
right.
That's all right.
You should listen to it, sort of. I just know.
Everybody tell them that. Everybody go ahead. Hello?
Yeah, did you get me on that, thing for the law about? It's very important because it's reoccurred again today, almost two weeks ago, wasn't there? Now, it would take you about 5 to 6 days. I understand that, but this has been 2.5, over 2 weeks. Yes, it does matter. Very, it's pertinent to matter because, okay, look, you're talking about home. Okay, that's what I want to hear because it's been 2 weeks, man. Well, yes, you're supposed to be busy, and I've been busy. So you're saying, I want you to say no. Okay, now there will be a counter thing. You know, you are running for an office and you want to be elected. Well, but that you have to, if you were to come over to the room and argue with the one that's causing this problem, that's Laura. Sad.
Oh, no, take your time. Just clear my lungs.
So, because you're trying to make this number about the same as this, you can't make 8, becomes 2. So now you want to have this number, this number is 8. So now, so we have that. Got it. I just need fractions. I just learned how to read fractions.
Well, she's just a babe in the woods, that's all.
That's what we're doing.
Am I not right? Aren't you?
She doesn't know how to do fractions, so we just
More manipulation.
plus 3/8 equals what? So she goes down here, that's wrong. So I was explaining to her that she could change it here. Like it's 4. That makes that equation, that makes that one. And we just have these and these. Sure these are separate. But she didn't have the fractions. She still doesn't. I jumped ahead, she would just have it on the halves and halves. Before we go ahead and we need to
ones I've seen like this. I know I have.
I found you.
Madam Chair, make a motion to approve these journal entries for June.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the June journal entries. All those in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. All right, we do have 15 minutes till the COS. I don't know that Brenda will be here at 2:30. If she is, we can certainly discuss it with her there, but do you guys have any initial comments or questions on the public safety agreement that we'll be addressing at 2:30?
I don't.
Franklin?
No, I don't.
Okay. After the city council meeting on Tuesday, I had a list of questions. I did send them to Carla on Thursday, and I know she had a full list on Thursday and Friday, so I haven't heard back yet, and it could be that she's researching them. But some of the questions that I have that I would like answered before we sign anything, beyond, you know, what Brenda needs to put in here, but if the Public Safety Commission will be responsible for contract negotiations, then we need to seriously address that Me Too clause, because I don't believe that we can continue to have that. Public Safety Commission then would be responsible for the union contract. If the union contract has a Me Too clause that is in essence a management tool for non-union employees, we are handing over the management of non-union employees to the Public Safety Commission. That just is a mess. Yeah, that's our job. It's not the job of a volunteer board to suddenly take over management of employees. So that's one of the biggest questions I have. What would the structure look like if a Me Too clause stayed? Would the contract negotiation be shared between the county and the city? Would it be a three-pronged partnership, the county, the city, the commission? I don't know. Those are some of the questions that I need answered before I'm comfortable signing an agreement.
Can you give that to Carla on those yet?
No, and I just asked her the question late last week. Those were brought up by city council members as well, specifically Mount West. And I think they're good questions that really do need a solid answer to them. Perhaps an MOU could solve it, I don't know, but that's kind of where I'm at with this.
Makes sense.
We also have another item for the budget, if you guys don't have anything on the PSC. The senior center would like and needs, they're required to have a 3-hole sink, and they don't right now. They did put in a request last year and decided to wait till this fiscal year and address one need at the senior center annually. So we do have the paperwork on that 3-hole sink, and I'd like to put it into the budget paperwork, if that's agreeable to
I
you.
think that's where it belongs.
Okay.
Yeah, fine with me.
How do they like their stove by now?
Good. It's not leaking propane. That's a good thing.
Very good thing.
Yes. Yeah, in fact, if you guys want, we could make an appointment to go over and have breakfast, lunch next Monday, if that's, I think we might be going too late, maybe first of August. Our Monday, or our morning is full, They start at 11:30, we have an appointment at 11:30, but we could go over August 4th.
And it'll be good.
Okay. I'll let Carol know.
What's your thoughts?
New Year's Eve.
And you know what, that's also their meeting, so we could maybe even sit in on that.
I would bring up, Harold Gibbs installed that, air conditioner, heater up there in that, TV building.
Is it working well?
Yeah, all the channels are back on last, he reported to me on that. And then he went back up and, cut all the weeds around there. He said that if there was a fire, it would probably burn the building there, you know. So anyway, I thought it's pretty good to do that. I would suggest that I think, we should, give him something for, we picked this unit up there in Helena, installed it, took the old one back out. And he ended up taking it to the county shop, just left it over there. And even though he volunteered to go cut those weeds and stuff like that on his own, I don't think he expected anything, but I just think it'd be good. He saved, quite a little bit of money by him doing that. Imagine what it'd be if that fellow from you had to come over and do all that, so that's my suggestion, I think he should be.
What are you suggesting amount wise?
Oh, I hadn't even thought about that. I would say the mileage, and I don't know. That's something we can throw out there. As far as, it's like I say, it's quite a savings for him to do that and to be available to check on things.
On a different subject, I am getting inundated with mosquito calls.
Yep.
They were
They are complaining.
spraying over the weekend, weren't they? Somebody said they were spraying.
Spray in my house.
Yeah.
They do mine, but they haven't. I'm just on the edge of the district. But Linda Poe called, and she said they couldn't even go out. They were having a big family doings. That all it was just a big black cloud of mosquitoes.
That's one of those things, I mean, the contractor didn't do his job, according to what Virginia told us. They want 2 trucks so they can spray 2 different sections, 2 different areas, per night. And they don't have the storage space, so they only have 1 truck. So, yeah, I'm also getting inundated. I will tell you, Slice of Summer was great for no mosquitoes, obviously they had sprayed. We need to enable our departments to do their jobs so that we don't feel these kind of complaints. And so our citizens are getting what they deserve and what they're paying for. And right now, our hands are tied. So,
I think they just spray in town, don't they, the trucks, isn't, out like in your area, it's all aerial, right?
Nope.
Isn't it? I thought they sprayed around, aerial.
They come out 284, and on the corner is where they turn around and go back.
They're just doing that with the pickle?
Mm-hmm.
No wonder they're not getting
It's a race,
Well,
you
didn't
go
they-
to the house.
I was always sure they did aerial before.
They do down at the ponds.
Yeah, I sprayed seen the plane the other day.
Okay, yeah, and then like Rotary, they always swung over, what I understood they did anyway.